to withhold you.
Let's get lost in love.
Nothing but love, 'cause girl,
Let's
I'ma
go.
hold you down.
Ma, it's no problem to hold you, tongue stroke you, please you like I'm supposed to. Touch spots that ain't ever been touched, and I won't stop till both these squirrels get their nuts. Hey, you know it's good when we freakin', king size squeaking after I ease in. If you was with me, baby, 24/7, best believe that every single day would be a sweet day. Girl, you sweeter than a cheesecake. If you want beef, prophecy would be a beefcake. I make love to you till you fall asleep, leave you with sweet dreams between the sheets.
This was the night before that night. I was born on that day, but not last night. Once upon a time, I had my cash right. Plug called, he ain't act right. I'm far from a slow nigga in this fast life. Pulled up, I got low, hit the black light. Once upon a time.
What's good, everybody? It's your man Big Dom coming live at you with another TruPlayaz podcast episode, which we are officially in season 5 of the TruPlayaz podcast. No, this is not the fourth year anniversary of the podcast. This is a regular episode. We will definitely have that new episode, the 4th year anniversary podcast with my brother JoeyG, my new co-host Just Jay. Hopefully some guest co-hosts as well as Prophecy Black Rose joining us on the 4th year anniversary. But that's going to be another episode. Today I want to talk about something that's big that's going on in the NBA right now. Of course, you guys already heard it already. As soon as Kyrie opts into his player option, Kevin Durant asked for a trade out of Brooklyn Nets. I have a lot to say about that, especially calling out KD, calling out. I'm not too much calling out Kyrie. Too much I'm calling out AD on this one because you left Golden State. You felt salty that Golden State won the chip without you, and now with all the turmoil that's going down there over there in Brooklyn, now you're trying to find the escape. But before I jump into all of that, we're gonna talk about the New York Knicks and the moves they made. Draft night was not exciting for us. They picked up they drafted a French guy and ended up trading him, I believe, to Indiana, some shit like that. I don't remember. That's what I heard when I seen that pick. I kind of was going through the motions in the NBA draft. This is probably the first NBA draft I actually was going through the motions. And like this, whatever. The minute we didn't get an opportunity to trade up and draft Jaden Ivey, the Knicks, I had a feeling Knicks was not too interested in the draft. They did, thing about it is about these Knicks the past few years, they've been hitting home runs with the second round picks. They picked up one in the Duke player. So let's see what happens with that. They've been hitting home runs with the second round picks. I must say that. So during draft night, they were able to drop, get rid of some salary. They got rid of Kemba Walker, traded to Detroit for some draft picks and some money. What can I say about Kemba Walker? I equate him to what we did with Glenn Rice when we traded for Glenn Rice. We got those two men 4 years too late. And it's the same situation with Kemba Walker. When he was healthy and his knees was going great, healthy knees, he was a guy that we should have went after for the point guard position. We didn't. We ended up getting him late. He got hurt, and then boom, this is what happened. He had a couple of great games for the Knicks in the season, but he just did not fit with Tom Thibodeau's brand of basketball, and plus he wasn't healthy enough to handle that. So that's one of the reasons why he was traded. The Knicks had no use for him. It's kind of sad when I hate a hometown player being jettisoned the way he was jettisoned, as if he wasn't worth the signing. Me personally, I love the signing, but it just did not work out. It just didn't work out. The Knicks eventually later on end up trading Alec Burks and Nerlens Noel to Detroit as well, which they got more draft picks. They got out of the salary cap hell that they needed to sign their prize free agent that they really wanted, Jalen Brunson, to the New York Knicks. 4 years, $104 million. It was rumors that he was probably looking for more like 120, but he came in on a smaller contract, Part of the reason is his daddy, Rick Brunson, is on the coaching staff of the New York Knicks. That can help facilitate the situation. And plus, Tom Thibodeau has a history with Jalen Brunson, knew him since he was a little kid when his daddy was playing for the Knicks. So Thibodeau understands what he's getting with this particular point guard. Um, would I've loved to see them try to run it with Emmanuel quickly as a starting point guard for next year? Yes, I would have. This does stunt his growth as a basketball player. And I hear a lot of people. I've listened to other people's podcasts, a lot of YouTube channels saying maybe we should trade Emmanuel quickly now since we got Jalen Brunson. Maybe we should trade Obi Toppin and things like that. Why I don't understand why these guys are actually entertaining trading away young players off this team. This is the first time in years we have some great young players to grow along with on this team, as well as Quentin Grimes and Deuce. You know what I'm saying? And we finally got things right. We resigned Mitchell Robinson. I'm telling you guys, once if Mitchell Robinson can stay healthy through the entire season, he's going to be a beast. He's going to be a beast. He's going to be blocking shots. He's still going to lead the league in field goal percentage. Last year, he had 70% field goal percentage, blocking shots, grabbing rebounds. I think with Jalen Brunson, the toughness that he showed in the playoffs when the Mavericks was playing without Luka Doncic for a few games when he was injured, and he showed his mettle, he showed his toughness, and this is not the type of player we need for the Knicks. Now, the question is, by us signing Jalen Brunson, does that stop us from getting Spider Mitchell? In my opinion, is we could still get Spider Mitchell. Now, Spider Mitchell. Now you got to play around with all the excess of draft picks that we have. We got now you got to entertain putting Emmanuel quickly in that deal, or Obi Toppin, or both in that deal for Spider Mitchell. My opinion, I'm not trading those guys for anybody. I seen what those guys produced when they were playing 40 plus minutes per game. And I seen it. These not guys you just give away. The both of them. The focus should be right now, Knicks fans, whether you agree with me or not, is working on the ability to trade Julius Randle and or Evan Fournier off this team to get more salary cap room to sign more players. Also, do not trade Cam Reddish. Do not trade Cam Reddish. If I was the GM, if I was Leon Rose, I would not trade Cam Reddish right now. Let's see what he could do as him being a starting small forward. And I think it's more of a incentive to trade Evan Fournier for me as a general manager. I prefer to trade both him and Randall, but it's more of an incentive to trade Fournier because you got a young player there that could probably put up the same numbers that Fournier put up and provide better defense in Cam Reddish, in my opinion. You can fight me on that all you want, but that's my opinion. And I'm gonna stick with my opinion because this is my podcast. Anybody wants to challenge my opinion, feel free to email me and we'll jump on the podcast, we'll talk about it. So also, Nick signed a depth center, Isaiah Hardenstein, 2 years, 16 million. This is a center that can stretch the floor. If you do keep Randall, it gives Randall some more room to operate in the post when Mitch Robinson is on the bench resting, or if Robinson gets injured, you give that space to Randall to operate in the post. Good player, 8.3 points last year. Shoots the ball well, grabs some rebounds. Let's see what happens. He'll give us better offense than Nerlens Noel gave us the past 2 years. And I feel bad because Nerlens Noel was injured last year and didn't really contribute to the team much. But for me, it was a contract situation. I didn't want to trade away my fellow my fellow Haitian, but the contract made it necessary for us to trade him to get more cap space. Because the thing you got to think about is, but if you're a Knicks fan, you got to think about the contracts down the line for RJ Barrett. His extension is coming up soon. You know what I'm saying? I spoke to you guys in many podcasts about how I want Zion Williamson on this team. Now I've changed my mind. I do not want him on the New York Knicks. I feel we have a power forward of the future on the team, which is Obi Toppin. We have to make the way to provide him with the 40 minutes playing time that he needs to flourish as an NBA player. Does he need to improve his? He needs to improve his 3-point shooting. Needs to improve his 18-foot jumper. And I feel if this man with his athleticism improves his 18-foot jumper and a 3-point shot, hey, I hate to say it. I don't want to jinx him, but he could be Amari Stoudemire without the injuries. I feel he could be that dominant in a basketball game. And plus, it'll allow Jalen Brunson to operate the way he wants to operate as a point guard of the team. I think it could be some issues with him. With if you keep Randall, could be some issues because Jalen Brunson is a tough kid. He's gonna demand that he brings the ball up court and tell Randall go in the post and where you're supposed to be, and be a power forward, not a point forward. You know what I'm saying? That's only if the Knicks do keep Julius Randle. But I will speak about a possible trade that could solve problems for both New York basketball teams. But we will not talk. We'll talk about that a little later in the podcast. A little later, I'm gonna touch you guys on that. I'm gonna promise you that. Um, Next moves need to be made. Where do I feel the Knicks could do more? Hmm. I think you got to get another superstar. Too bad. The only way I would ever entertain trading Cam Reddish if the Knicks could come in, go in there, and try to sign Brandon Beal, and Brandon Beal re-signed with the Wizards, so that's out of the question. You need another big time superstar, another big time scorer to go in there with R.J. Barrett, to go in there with either Julius Randle or Obi Toppin at the four, and go from there. The fact that you signed Hardenstein, you can't rock Randle and Obi Toppin on the floor at the same time. You can't do it. Can't do it. So pardon me, I'm a little bit under the weather. Um, so pardon me for that. And the thing is, the thing is, too, Thibodeau is not comfortable with that type of lineup. So we'll go from there. But another sentimental signing, I can see the Knicks making, and it's gaining a lot of steam, which is Carmelo Anthony returning to the New York Knicks. I have a lot of Knicks fans saying, "Hell no, we don't want him. This, that, and the other. What he's gonna do? Let's give time to the young players." Let me tell you guys something. We signed Jalen Brunson, which stunted the playing time of IQ. We still got Derrick Rose on the team, which is also going to affect IQ's playing time. You understand what I'm saying? So bringing Melo to help him train Obi Top and help him work with the young players how to be professional NBA players. I think it would be a bonus for the New York Knicks. I honestly, truly believe that it's going to be a bonus for the New York Knicks. And let's bring him back. Why not? Why not? Let's get that bad taste of the Los Angeles Lakers out of his mouth. Let him finish off his career at home with the New York Knicks. And as we go back to his as we go to his birth borough, and the dilemma that they're having right now with their superstar players who shun the New York Knicks to play over there. I'm gonna be straight with you. I'm gonna tell you guys something. You Brooklyn Nets fans are not gonna like what I'm gonna say about your team. But the reason why Kyrie and KD went to them is because of your cream puff owner and your cream puff front office. Those guys come in there and just bully everybody and tell them what to do. And what happened was you got this situation right now as we speak. That you let the inmates run the asylum, and this is what you're getting. You actually think KD or Kyrie could come into the Garden and tell Jim Dolan to do? It may work for a little bit, but Dolan is that motherfucker. Is like if that shit ain't working, he gonna fuck it up and be like, yo, this we need to go back to the way it was before. He ain't gonna sit there and let that shit rock. These guys got Kenny Atkinson fired. A guy who the year before they came to the Nets got this team to the playoffs with Spencer Dinwiddie as the starting point guard. Think about that for a second, bro. Everybody, think about that for a second. I like Dinwiddie as a player. You know what I'm saying? James Harden came in there with a trade, and he wanted to run out of Brooklyn. He wanted to go to Philadelphia because he couldn't stand Kyrie because of the situation with the vaccination and all that stuff. Listen, I'm not gonna even touch that subject because for me it's close to home to me. It hits close to home to me. I'm not gonna diss Kyrie because he didn't make the sacrifice for his team or this, that, and the other. I just felt that the laws was kind of fucked up in that, and that's something that, thanks to the owner Joe Tsai, I did call him a cream puff owner, but he's the reason why they lifted all those mandates up in New York City. He was the reason why. He put in the word to Mr. Adams, Mayor Adams, and said, "Yo, bro, lift them mandates, please." And when you have money, you got power, that shit will go a long way. So, excuse me. So it goes a long way. But anyway, Kyrie opts into his $36 million player option after he was unable to get a contract extension with the Brooklyn Nets over money. But the thing is that you can't. The reason why I understand why the front office didn't give him the extension that he wanted because they can't trust him. Last year was a situation with the vaccination. The year before was he needed a mental health break. Uh, what else could happen to this great player who always finds reasons to take days off? And that's not fair to hold the team hostage when you're getting paid that much money. You know what I'm saying? You know how many people would love to be paid that much money just to play basketball instead of working a 9 to 5 job? Listen, I'm one of them. Now, would I have taken that shot to make sure I played that, you know, play to earn that contract? You know, there's something called integrity, and there's something called intelligence. The three I's: integrity, intelligence, and something that Kurt Angle did a few years ago, and intensity. Intelligence, integrity, and intensity. That's something. I spoke about how I felt about the particular inoculation. You know what I'm saying, on previous podcasts and stuff like that. Integrity, intensity, intelligence. Getting paid $36 million a year. What price do you put your integrity on? Let's be honest. What price do you hold your integrity up to? And I'm not saying I'm a sellout, but I probably would have done the same thing Kyrie did because eventually that shit was going to be lifted. It's just too bad it's not lifted for the healthcare workers or the teachers of the DOE. So it can be lifted for a basketball player. It can't be lifted for a healthcare worker. I digress. Okay, guys, I digress. But anyway, let's get back to basketball. Okay. KD requested a trade. He asked the owner for a trade Sunday. He has two top teams he wants to go to, which is Miami and Phoenix. I mean, Kevin Durant is a great player. His mentality, he wanted to come back east to be close to home. But I just feel that him being now, he wants to go jump to another team. Now, if I was him, if I was KD, I'd go to the Nets office. I don't care how loyal a good friend of mine I am to Kyrie. I'm like, listen, trade Kyrie, find me the point guard. Hell, this has probably been a great scenario. I'm giving freaking Sean Marks and Josiah an idea. How about you flip Kyrie to Utah for Spider Mitchell? You think KD would want to stay after that? You think KD would keep his trade request if we brought him Spider Mitchell? Think about that stuff, Nets. Think about it. I'm giving you guys ideas, and I'm a Knicks fan. You should call Utah. Don't give in the KD's the trade demands. You give a call to Utah, see what it would take to get Donovan Mitchell. Do that. Make that happen. KD is already KD's already been rumors that he wants to play with two potential All-Star players. Bruh, KD, stop. Okay, just stop. Put yourself on a good team. You have a good team right now. All you need to do is get another point guard and probably another scorer to help you in that task. And like I said, the Nets were distracted by the Kyrie situation and not KD requesting a trade. When Brandon Beal opted out of his contract with the Wizards, the Nets should have been like, okay, let me try to make KD happy and see what I can do to sign Brandon Beal and give him that scorer from the two position, and then trade Kyrie for a point guard, where it was Donovan Mitchell or DeAndre Fox or De'Aaron Fox. I'm sorry, De'Aaron Fox over there in Sacramento. See, Boston got better. They got Brogdon. And now you can move back Marcus Smart back to the two, and just so you can be off guard, off the ball player, and play great defense. You can do something like that. But all signs point to Kyrie going to the Lakers. All signs point to it because it makes sense. Lakers and Nets both have two players that they don't want, which is Russell Westbrook and Kyrie Irving. And then whatever people they add, whatever piece they add around that, they're gonna make that happen and trade them. And see if Kevin Durant would buy in, will play with Russell Westbrook again. Would he buy into that? I honestly don't think so because he left. Let me tell you something. When KD left to go to Golden State, he left Russell Westbrook in OKC. Why? Because Russell Westbrook is a turnover machine and not a winning player. That's why one of the reasons why he went to Golden State. Plus, he wanted the easy ring. Let's be real. He wanted the easy ring. He got his easy ring. He wanted to make his legacy in Brooklyn. That's him bringing Brooklyn the championship. But listen, that's not gonna. We already know that's not going to happen. Milwaukee's making a comeback. Boston got better. Miami's making a comeback. You got top 3 teams in the Eastern Conference right now. You know what I'm saying? So that's not going to happen. Sorry, KD. That's not going to happen. But like I said, had the Brooklyn Nets had a better coach, which I felt they had with Kenny Atkinson over Steve Nash, I believe the Brooklyn Nets would have been in the NBA Finals these past 2 years. As simple as that. It's coaching. You give Mark Jackson that team with Kevin Durant and Kyrie Irving. With that roster, they're going to the championship. They're going to the NBA Finals. Steve Nash, he's a Hall of Fame. He's a Hall of Fame point guard. I'm not taking that away from him, but he has no experience being a head coach, and his head coach acumen is not that great. I'm shocked because he, as great of a player he was, he should not be scared of fucking Kyrie Irving or fucking Kevin Durant. That's a Hall of Fame player. That's a head coach. You know what I'm saying? So that kind of bothered me a little bit with that situation. But you should never be afraid of that situation. He should never be afraid of those two players. His resume speaks for itself. I don't care if Kyrie ever said that he took two Kobe's two MVP titles. I don't care about that. Steve Nash balling. He balled every night. He never took a night off. He balled every fucking night. That's something that Kyrie can never say, that he balled every night. Steve Nash balled every night when he was on that court. So give that man his respect. Give that man his flowers. You know what I'm saying? These are trades that could help. I feel could help both New York teams if Kevin Durant will get off his shit about not wanting to play for the Knicks, telling everybody it's not cool to be it's not cool to be a Knicks fan. It's not cool to be a Knick. Okay. The Brooklyn Nets, and they can stay competitive. The Brooklyn Nets will take back Julius Randle and Evan Fournier for Kevin Durant, and they should give him some draft picks too, because the Nets don't have much first round draft picks. You put Kevin Durant with Jalen Brunson, R.J. Barrett, with an improving IQ, along with Obi Toppin and Mitchell Robinson. The Knicks team could be a top 4 team in the Eastern Conference. I'm gonna even say it out loud: a top 3 team. And you got Cam Reddish coming off the bench. Now you can even flirt with the idea. Now, if you need that one more scorer, you trade Cam Reddish and possibly either Quickly or Grimes or I'm not trading Toppin. I don't want to trade Toppin or IQ. If you find to make that magic happen, to get another scorer in there with Durant and RJ Barrett and Jalen Brunson run the point guard, a solid point guard, not a flashy one, a solid point guard that's going to come to play every night. This next team with Kevin Durant could go to the NBA Finals, in my opinion. In that Eastern Conference, I believe they could. That could solve everyone's problems in New York right now. If KD has the courage to step and wear that New York Knicks uniform, but he wants to play with 2 All-Star players alongside him. He wants to go to Phoenix where he can play with Devin Booker and Chris Paul. I heard he bought a mansion in Toronto. He wants to play with Van Vliet and Siakam. I don't think Miami has enough to even get him without breaking up that core of team that he has, that they have down there. Unless you resign Oladipo and trade it and send him along with them to Brooklyn. And do they have enough draft picks to satisfy Brooklyn? You know, like I said, if I was Brooklyn, I'm staying pat with Kevin Durant, but I'll try to trade Kyrie Irving in a heartbeat. I'll try to trade him in a heartbeat, even if it's to get Russell Westbrook. I'm saying Brian Westbrook, Russell Westbrook, to Brooklyn to pair him back with KD. It's only going to be for 1 year. Well, at least a half a year until they figure out until they find a trade they want for Kevin Durant. So that's what I'm going to say about that. And guys, you could definitely chime in later on. I want to speak a little bit about the trade that happened today. Baker Mayfield going to the Panthers, where he's going to be competing with Sam Darnold again for the starting position of the quarterback. The first time they competed against each other was to compete for the number 1 draft pick in the 2018 season. Now they get to compete for the starting job for the Carolina Panthers. I think Cleveland messed up on this trade because I felt that due to the pending suspension of Deshaun Watson, I would have kept Baker Mayfield on the team and made him the starting quarterback for the year. This is his last year. Why not? Fifth round draft pick is like unless you're gonna get a Tom Brady or someone like that in the fifth round, like New England did back in the day. But what's the chance of that? So that's what I would do. Honestly, I would have kept Baker Mayfield, have him start the season. And of course, we got to talk about my New York Mets, but I'm gonna give an honorable mention to the New York Yankees, who are by far the best team record-wise in the entire Major League Baseball. And they're doing this with Garrett Cole as their starting rotation. Luis Severino is back. I don't even know half the pitching staff anymore on the New York Yankees. In the '90s and the early 2000s, you knew it was Boomer Wells, David Cohn, Clemens, and Andy Pettit. Off the rip, top four, off the top of your head, easy. Now you just remember Garrett Cole because he signed a $300 million contract, and then Luis Severino, the homegrown talent. But they're playing some great baseball right now. I'm just keeping my eye on the Aaron Judge situation with this contract situation to find out if they're able to resign him. Because if the Yankees mess up and not resign Aaron Judge, he's coming to Queens, baby. He's coming to Queens. Uncle Steve ain't playing. He want his ring. And as far as the New York Mets goes, today they're 50-31. They're 19 games over 500 without Jacob DeGrom pitching a single inning this season, and with Matt Scherzer missing about 5 or 6 starts. Which is a testament to Buck Showalter's managing and how he's handling that bullpen. Trevor May has been out for about a month or so. The bullpen still, in my opinion, the bullpen still needs more improvement. But they're treading water. And then 19. This is a team that's treading water, and their record is 19 games over 500. They're 50-31, and they're treading water. Now think about when they get their big guns back. Scherzer, DeGrom comes back into that team, and Tyler McGill comes back. Cookie Carrasco, he got bombed, I think, in 2 starts ago. He's making a slight resurgence back to his career. And David Peterson is filling in admirably for Tyler McGill's missing a start. And Bassett's pitching great too. The Mets could only get better without making a single trade. But people are talking about they do need a left-handed bat for that DH. Let me tell you something about the New York Mets fans. I'm talking to Billy Epler, Buck Showalter, Uncle Steve Cohen. You don't need to make a trade for that big left-handed bat at the trading deadline. There's some guy sitting at home who wore that man uniform that wore number 30 last year and played right field for you guys, who could definitely fill in that position. And all you have to do is give him money. And that his name is Michael Conforto. Will solve that problem instantly. If he's healthy with that shoulder. You can use that trade. You can use the trading chips to get another starting pitcher or another bullpen arm. But if you want that bat, you better call up Scott Boras and say, like, yo, listen, stop fucking around. You want Michael Conforto back on the team. Let's negotiate on a 1-year contract and go from there. That's what I would do. That's what I would do. So on that note, before I sign off on the podcast, ladies and gentlemen, it's been a pleasure doing this podcast with you guys. I keep making promises I'm gonna be more consistent, and that's a more important thing for me. Most important thing for me right now. But life happens. You know what I'm saying? Health wise, personal wise, professional wise, life does happen. And I'm gonna try my best, along with my brother JoeyG, to keep hitting you guys bless you guys with a new episode every week. It's only fair. and we can see we love you guys. We love all our supporters. We love everybody who been on the show, whether it was Miss Nadia, um, Prophecy Black Rose, um, Ricky Brown, which we dearly miss him. Judge Jay, who just joined the team. Hanif, who've been one of my classmates who've been on the podcast. Carmine, who has been on the podcast. Who else am I missing? Jesus Christ, I'm missing a lot of people, but it's too many people to count on to remember at this state right now. But we thank everybody joining us on the podcast. It's been 4 years. 4 years strong as we go on to our year 5. And I can't wait to do the fourth year anniversary episode with my brother JoeyG. I'm hoping to have Mars on the podcast. I'm hoping to have Live Neutral on the podcast, Kyle on the podcast, Miss Nadia on the podcast. This is my hope, but it's not guaranteed. But we'll see what happens. Just stay tuned for the announcement of when that podcast will happen. Me and JoeyG got to sit down and talk and provide you guys with an outstanding 4th year anniversary podcast of the TruPlayaz podcast, the best way we know how. And like I said, we're going to sign off on this podcast. You can listen to this podcast on Anchor, Google Podcast, Apple Podcast, iHeart Radio, SoundCloud. You can watch the video version on YouTube. Please subscribe to my YouTube channel. Any questions, definitely hit me up on the comments, and we'll definitely address them on the next podcast episode. So it's your man, Big Dom, signing off on this podcast. I'll talk to you guys soon. Peace.
Things will get brighter, then bring it down hard. Someday.